100 years in the business, and why have they been so successful? Why have they been so popular? Because it's easy to use. It is easy to use whether you're a first-timer, whether you are an expert. Take a look at what you're getting today. This is the Janome Computerized MOD200 sewing machine. The 200 means you have 200 built-in stitches. It is computerized. It is customized. All you have to do is press the button. And don't worry, I know that sounds like a lot. Like there's 200. What do I use? All I know how to do is a straight stitch. It has a card to walk you through everything, has the booklet to look at, to read through, so you know exactly the number you're using on what project. Multiple projects, a variety of fabrics, whether it is elevating your card game, or maybe it's hemming those pants, or home decor, or those curtains, or maybe you're making that canvas bag at $379.95. Take a look at this. This is a $500 machine that for one day only today you're getting for $379.95. Plus, if you have the HSN card, you're also getting 12-month VIP financing on this, $31.66 a month. There is no added fees on that. There is no added interest on that. It's barely over $1 a day, and so much to do, so many projects for you to do with your brand new Janome. We're gonna spend about 20 minutes here because there are so many great features like the automatic threader, the easy bobbin system, and we're gonna go through all of that. So whether you are a first-timer or whether you already have your sewing machine and you want that computerized sewing machine, the one with all of the internal parts are all metal parts. So when you get it up to speed, when it's doing 1,000 stitches a minute, it is strong, but it's also very compact, and you can take it with you. This is your day. I'm joined by Jennifer Tryon. She is our expert crafter here today, and she has her videos to follow along and all of her tutorials, and she's gonna walk us through what makes this Janome so special. Hello, Jennifer.
Oh, hi, Ty. How are you doing today?
Good to see you.
It's
Good.
so good to be here. I'm gonna start where many of you already are, and that is in card making and scrapbooking. Because yes, you're gonna wanna repair the patio furniture cushions, or do, hem your pants, or do some sewing projects with this machine. But let's walk before we run,
Okay.
you know what I mean?
Yes.
And maybe we can just start by adding some texture to our card fronts, to our scrapbook pages. Look at these cute, whoops, dropping them, cute little bird cards. All of this is just little bits of fabric that I've sewn onto paper. You can also see the lines of stitching that we're adding to scrapbook pages.
Oh,
you can
cool.
use that thread instead of adhesive, or use the thread like we did in this next one as a bit of the artwork. So I matched up the thread color with the kind of rain cloud kind of coming down here. That's just stitching. So if you're already an avid card maker or scrapbooker, and maybe you even have a kit that, like you had with Anna, and you want to sew on some of those pieces, that's totally doable with a machine like this. And I'm going to show you how I've been doing it. I'm just taking a couple little scraps of fabric. So you could upcycle something like this, and then I'm gonna lay it right down on, so I've got 2 layers. This is gonna be a birthday cake, and there's gonna be the 3rd layer, and has a very homespun look, right? Very crafty looking. And I've just got black thread in my machine, and I'm not changing the needle. I'm not putting on any special foot.
Okay.
I'm just using a straight stitch. And this machine is going to sew through the fabric and the paper, as well as it would sew through anything. I've got speed control. I'm using the stop-start button. Of course, you could use the foot pedal too. I'm just pivoting, so I'm just sewing right around that little bit of fabric. So if you're a card maker, and you're looking for a way to elevate your card making game, even if you are using kits, adding some stitching instead of adhesive is just a great place to start. And then once, you're using things that you're familiar with, like paper, then, graduate up to some of the projects that you see on Pinterest, like the little pouches, a quilt. Once you kind of get familiar with your machine, you're really gonna see sky's the limit. And then when you've got your card front, take your card base, and let's, sew it right down.
Oh,
It all just lends to the look, you know? And that's what I love about a machine like this. We don't have to start at like installing a zipper on a prom dress that we've made from scratch.
Right.
No, we can start where we're at, which is, you know, I'm a crafter, I love card making, I love scrapbooking, or I just love all things creative. But here's the thing. Let me get, if you love paper, you're gonna love fabric. It's a whole ball game as well. And these are the kinds of cards you're truly making yourself. So you can see I'm just pivoting around that entire little block. And don't get me wrong, I'm making a card project here, but in the next, you know, half hour, I'm gonna show you how to repair a net. I'm gonna show you how you can go through some super thick material, even leather, make a rope bowl, show you a memory quilt. You know, these are all things that you can do on this machine because the Janome has, you're seeing like a plastic exterior case here, but everything inside is all metal. All right, I've just made my way around that card. And I even love the little strings. Doesn't that just kind of lend to like the homespun look of it all, the little fraying edges? And then you could use some of your stamps with a little happy birthday or something like that on a card like this. And you know, the sky's the limit when it comes to making things like this. Just, you know, so cute.
Fun. And you look at how you're adding the texture, you're adding that depth, you're adding that new look. I love that you started there because coming off of what we just talked about with Anna Griffin, and a lot of you tune in because you are paper crafters. This is taking it to that next level. If maybe you're a little intimidated by a big, heavy sewing machine that you kind of place in one room and you can't move it and there's too many things going on there, and those are $700, $800, today is your opportunity. Or maybe this is a gift for someone. Maybe this is their first sewing machine. Look at what you've done just with paper crafting, just the texture that you've added just for paper crafting. And then from there, you move on. You move on to hemming those pants. You move on to home decor. Also, if when I say 200 stitches, you think, oh my goodness, I don't know how to do I wouldn't even know where to use 200 stitches.
Well, let's go through it.
You don't even have to right now. You just start easy, right? You start slow, and then as you grow, it'll grow. And then the bundle that we give you, so we want to show you some of the stitches, and then I want to show you the bundle that you're getting
comes with, because look at this stitch card up here. So I'm going to show you how this works on this little machine tour. So we're getting 200 stitches in a computerized machine. So here's some of the stitches here, all of your straight stitches. That's what I was using on that card. Then you're getting into some of your practical stitches, like the kinds that you'll use to hem your pants. Don't worry, it shows you how to do that in the manual. Look at all of the buttonhole feet. Maybe you do want to attempt making clothing at some point, or there's a budding fashion designer somewhere in your life. Applique stitches, and then we're getting down to some of these cool decorative stitches, and then the monogramming, the alphabets. Maybe you want to put the date in some cloth napkins this holiday season, you know, Thanksgiving 2025. You can do that on this machine. And so let's take a little tour, and I'm going to show you what you get. Because in this machine, you're getting speed control. So that means we can go very, very slow, which is sometimes just as important as going fast, you know? If you've got a little one on your knee or you're doing something kind of complicated, slow stitching, or we can motor it up to 1,000 stitches per minute on a real straightaway, and you've got that option. You see me pressing that button, that stop start button? You can either use the traditional foot pedal that comes with the machine, but if you have a standing desk or your legs ache or anything like that, you can use the stop start button. Of course, it reverses. You know, in old school home ec, we're like, oh yeah, back stitching, you gotta tie it in so you can reverse stitch, but this is the lock stitch. If you don't want to back stitch, you just want to tie off your stitch. See what's happening right now? When I press that lock stitch, it's giving me 5 stitches right on top of one another. That's tying that knot. It's locking that in place. You've also got the needle up down button. And like I said, the speed control, and then over 200 stitches in the brains of the operation, which is here, where you can adjust the stitch width and the stitch length, and of course all of the accessories that it's coming with are down in front here. So you're going to be able to grow with this machine. You saw me talk about the buttonhole stitches. So this is the automatic buttonhole foot. So it's going to automatically measure out the size of your button. You're going to install the button into this foot here. Don't worry, there's lots of tutorials on janome.com and a whole army of makers that show you how to use this machine. You've got the zipper foot. You've got this clear craft foot. That's for using all of those decorative stitches and the alphabets. And you've got this foot here has a little edging on it, and I'm going to show you that one next on your side there. And this is for hemming your pants or doing the edge. And then I love this foot here. It's the overcasting foot, and it's going to allow you sort of a surged edge.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so if you don't have a serger, but you're into making clothing,
right,
you can use that stitch. You can use that stitch. In lieu of a serger, which is really, really nice.
Wow, listen, at $379.95, right? This is normally $500, and then you add in all of the pieces of the bundle that we give you here at HSN. One of the things we love to do, we love to make sure you are ready right out of the box. You get it home and you are ready to go. You can do that with this set, with this bundle. I wish I could offer you this price every day. I cannot, I'm sorry. This is normally $500, today at $379.95. My wife is a seamstress, and she buys a lot of sewing machines. She used to teach sewing in a lot of pieces, and I don't know that she's ever spent as little as $379.95 on a sewing machine, right? These are, with this variety and this much power and that all metal construction on the inside, it's very expensive. This is your chance today.
Speaking of metal, not that I think anyone should be sewing on this, but I grabbed a little, I cut up a tin can.
Okay.
And I'm gonna, just to show you the superior feed dogs that are under here, all metal 7-point. I'm gonna snap off. You just press the button and the presser foot comes off. You've got a 7-point feed dog system here and a drop-in bobbin. So the bobbin goes in right there, no having to fiddle with any casing underneath. And then these little teeth right here and the all metal surface, this is the unsung hero of this. This is why this Janome machine can boast like the higher quality than most machines. And I'm gonna show you what I mean here. So I'm gonna lower the presser foot. I'm not even and I'm taking this tin can and I'm just on a straight stitch, and let's turn it up a little here. What you're going to see is it going through, okay? We're going through that tin can, no problem. But now, without even lifting the presser foot, I'm gonna take a tissue.
Okay.
And I'm not saying you're ever gonna sew on these things. You probably won't. But without even lifting the presser foot, it's going from the tin can to the tissue to the cardstock, if you were wanting to. And it's those feed dogs underneath that are feeding it in without me even having to do any placing. Now maybe I'll take the quilting squares, not even lifting it up. It is, people talk about not even being able to sew straight. It's not you. It's whether those little teeth underneath have the robustness, if it has the motor that's strong enough, the all metal parts to pull this big medley of strange things through the machine.
You couldn't have a more different variety of materials that you just saw it all strung together.
And you may not ever sew on a tin can. Why would you? However, I would like a machine. If I'm gonna invest some money into a sewing machine to keep it in my house, then I wanna make sure it's gonna be able to take whatever I throw at it.
Yes, right.
You know,
or whatever new project you see, you open up that book, you see that project, and now you worry, can my sewing machine do that? I'm not sure. Can I do that stitch? How do I do that stitch? Now you can. Now you can get creative. This is something my wife does as well. She does rope baskets.
The rope bowls are so popular. And so you know this. This is just a clothesline or some quarter-inch cotton rope. And all you need is a machine, though, that has a robust enough motor and those superior feed dogs, those little teeth that pull it through. And this is 1/4 of an inch thick, okay? So obviously we're taking fabric. Obviously we're doing all of those thin types of things. You saw it sew through the paper. But look at how thick this is, right?
Yeah.
And in order for me to attach this side to this side, it's just a zigzag stitch.
Okay.
So let me show you how you choose the stitch.
Okay.
So when we're up here, on this machine, you've got over 200 stitches. In mode 1, this is all your practical stitches. In mode 2, you've got all your decorative stitches. See that? So I'm gonna come over here where it says mode on my machine. And if I press mode 1, mode 2, or the alphabet mode, that will be the mode I'm in. So in mode 1, I wanna choose stitch number 7. That's my zigzag stitch. On the stitch card, all of the stitches are numbered. So we can just go up to stitch number 7. And now here, this is where your computerized machine earns its money over the machines with the knobs.
Okay.
Because it's choosing the optimal stitch length and stitch width for you.
Oh, you didn't have to choose that?
No,
Oh,
as
that's
soon as you
great.
pick that stitch, and then it's also telling me what presser foot, it says presser foot A.
Okay.
It says what presser foot to put on if you're using that stitch. And then all of the Janome feet have that little letter embossed into the foot. So, I mean, if you're a seasoned sewer, this is, you know, great to have the reminder, but you might already know this. But if you're new, if you're saying, you know what, I do love card making and scrapbooking, but I would like to try sewing, I would like to have a machine in the house, this is gonna show me, the machines with the knobs are never gonna show you what presser foot to put on. And that's where the computerization, it's not something to fear, but rather it's something that helps you out.
It's gonna guide you through, right? Because someone like me who doesn't sew, I look at this and I say, well, I'd love to do this, but there's a lot of moving parts.
Yes.
But the computerized helps you with all of that. And now, this is really inspiring. Right.
And so if I want to make my zigzag stitch a little bigger, I can turn up the zigzag or turn it down, or I can make my stitch longer or shorter. And I can turn down the speed if I'm just getting started and feeling a little nervous at first. And then I'm like, okay, I'm getting it. And then once you do, look at how it's just zigzagging across that super thick rope.
Right.
So obviously this is going to be able to hem your pants. Obviously you're going to be able to sew little thin, you know, pieces of quilting cotton, but 1/4 inch thick cotton rope. I haven't put a special needle in here. I'm not using any sort of special thread. It's because the Janome machines are powerful. The all metal parts, super strong motor, and those superior 7-point feed dogs, that's what's going to allow you to do big heavy duty projects like this. And then switch to, like we did a tissue, the tin can, you know what I mean, to something super delicate in the next moment.
And can I also say the size of this is just right too. It's not an overbearing, intimidating size as well. If you don't have a whole room that you can sew in like my wife does, if you don't have an entire room and you just have a little bit of space on a tabletop somewhere, this will work for you as well. So maybe you are an expert, so maybe you have your sewing machines, but you want that computerized machine. This is the one today. But maybe this is your first, maybe you're gifting this to someone and this is their first. Normally this is $500 with the bundle and everything we're putting in for you today. It's $379.95. The shipping and handling has been reduced to $750. Remember, $750, that's all you'll pay in shipping and all of your crafting items today. So you've reached that already with the today's special. You're getting everything you need right out of the box.
And that hard carrying case, that cover that'll go right over your machine. If you're traveling with it, the handle will be exposed, or you can just cover it up in your space so the dust stays off of it. I always tell people who are starting to sew, if you want to continually use your machine and be making cool projects like this, you need to leave your machine out and leave it threaded. Because if you do that, you'll surprise yourself how often you'll just run to it to fix that button on your blouse or sew your blouse shut. I've done that many a mornings. It's just feeling a little, just sew it right shut. You know, those are the kinds of mending and repairing type things that you'll be able to do when you've got a reliable machine in the house that you're not fighting with.
That is great. Or when you feel inspired and you get that inspiration and you jump in there and it's already out, that size is just perfect. $379.95. I want to remind you, if you have the HSN card, you are one of our VIP shoppers, and one of the benefits of being a VIP shopper is that you get 12 months of VIP financing. So all you do is pay $31.66 a month. You make that minimum payment. There's no added fees on that. There's no added interest on that. We ship that out to you right after that first $31.60. This is headed your way, and you are starting in on your projects, whether they are fun projects or practical projects. And again, the variety of materials is really impressive.
100%. And I'm going to show you now. This is a genuine leather. You can see the raw hide on the inside here. I'm just making a full tote bag.
Okay, wow.
It couldn't be more impressive, but couldn't be easier. It's straight line, straight line, straight line, and then 2 handles also made out of the leather. So we've got my bag here. I'm gonna show you on the machine with the leather. Now, I'm gonna use a straight stitch. I've just folded my leather in half so you can see it's genuine leather here. And I'm going to increase my stitch length, which is a good tip for people.
Okay.
If you're sewing through something thick, increase your stitch length a bit so that it's got more room to make it through all the way to the bottom and still look like a stitch. So I'm gonna go and just choose a regular straight stitch. So 0-1 in mode 1.
Okay.
And then I can go ahead and push over my needle. Look at that, right to the edge so I can keep it on my leather right on the feed dogs. And then I'm gonna increase that stitch length. And I'm just gonna slow it right down to start. And you can see this is a double layer of genuine leather. I have not switched the needle, even though you could put a leather needle in. I've not done any, I don't have any special thread in here. And you can see it going through this leather, no problem at all. Let's turn up the speed a little bit.
Okay.
No problem.
Wow.
For the Janome.
Wow. Now you just turned up the speed by moving your speed there.
That's right, the speed control's right here. So if I was doing something a little tougher, I really wanted to, I could slow it right down.
Okay.
Or I'm on a straightaway here.
Yeah.
Feeling confident.
Go for it.
Really getting to work.
Impressive. Wow, that is genuine leather.
Yeah, genuine leather. And then the knife is right on the side here, so I can pull that thread over and it just cuts it right at the side. That thread is cut now. And I've got that beautiful stitching all the way through that double layer of leather. So if you're wanting to build out some, you know, really high quality items, but not pay $300-400 at the store, I bought a whole hide for 99 bucks, okay? And I'm telling you, 1 year for Christmas, this is the last one, I made my sisters all these sort of carry-all bags, genuine leather, and then pick a fun fabric for the inside.
Yes.
You know, these are the kinds of things that you can be making if you've got a machine in the house that you can rely on.
Yes.
If you've got a machine that's gonna grow with you and be able to handle whatever inspiration, not that you have today, but that you're going to have in the future. Because you know, sometimes we buy things based on what our abilities right now.
Yes, right.
I always say, try to get a machine that's a little better than you are, because you're only gonna get better.
No, that's a really good point. This is something that will grow with you, right? You kind of start where you're at and then let it grow with you as you become more familiar, as you try out different stitches and different fabrics, and then you can get creative. So not only is it fun and creative, but it can also be practical as well, hemming those pants. Maybe it's home decor, maybe it's making a repair, and then it's that specialty gift that you're gonna make, and then maybe it's the embroidery of the names, all of that you're gonna get into. Maybe this season, maybe next season, maybe next year, the Janome is gonna be there for you. The opportunity you have today is to get it on a Today's Special price. This is the only sewing Today's Special of the entire year. It is right now. It is today. You also have 30 days to try anything out here at HSN. This is your very first sewing machine and you're a little nervous about it. Get it home, try it out for 30 days, $379.95. What did you make there? Oh my goodness.
My son and I made this together, okay? And he's probably the only one on earth that's gonna like this melange of colors. But these are all his old jerseys. I had to take it off his bed to bring it here today.
Oh,
just
I
because,
love it.
You know, what are you gonna do with all these things over the years, everything that your kids or grandkids collect up? But now he's got this memory quilt of all his different numbers on all his different
Were these all
teams.
his jerseys?
All his jerseys. And you know, so many parents and grandparents are sitting on things like this. Maybe they're baby onesies, or maybe it's like concert t-shirts.
Yeah, you don't wanna get rid of those. You don't wanna,
You can put them together in a big thing, like a quilt. It's just straight stitching, squares together. And you can do that on the Janome because it can handle this kind of weight.
Something that size and that weight, that's amazing. Oh, before we go, I know that was quick, but I want to mention the tote as well. Janome tote to carry your sewing machine in 3 different patterns. We have green geometric, the gray geometric, and the wavy gravy. Do we have one here? What do we have? Oh, we have them right over here.
In the front.
There's our totes right down here in the front. Give you a heads up on that, $47.99 to throw it.